Randy Orton's explosive 2009, From Legacy to McMahon Family Feuds. Imagine this. You're sitting in the crowd on a Monday night in 2009. The arena is buzzing, fans holding up signs for Cena, Batista, Jeff Hardy. Suddenly, Vince McMahon, the boss himself, struts down to the ring. He's not out here to cut a promo about business. He's here to confront Randy Orton, the most dangerous man on the roster. Orton doesn't back down. He twitches with rage, his eyes cold. And then, without warning, he punts Vince in the skull. The chairman collapses. Silence. No music, no commentary. Just the image of a boss laid out by one of his employees. That moment set the tone for Randy Orton's 2009. A year where he wasn't just a wrestler, he was a predator. Cold, calculating, unhinged. Every feud, every segment, every match felt like it could spiral into something chaotic. From Legacy to the McMahons, from Triple H to Cena, from Batista to Kofi Kingston, Orton's path was lined with brutality, controversy, and moments fans still debate today. Today, we're breaking down every major Randy Orton feud of 2009 in detail. The wins, the losses, the chaos, and the legacy it left behind. Buckle up, because this isn't just a highlight reel. It's a journey through one of the most volatile years in WWE history. Part 1. The Birth of Legacy. In early 2009, Randy Orton wasn't just another top star. He was a powder keg. WWE introduced a storyline diagnosis of intermittent explosive disorder, IED. The real condition exists, but in WWE's hands, it became a storytelling device. Orton wasn't a man in control. He was a snake, unpredictable and vicious, capable of snapping at anyone, from fellow superstars to authority figures. Enter Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. Both were young, hungry, and second-generation talents, eager to prove they weren't just living off their fathers' names. Aligning with Orton gave them credibility instantly. This wasn't nostalgia like Evolution had been. This was Orton hand-picking two disciples to shield his volatility. Fans in the arena could sense the arrogance radiating off the group. Orton, twitching and glaring, while Cody and Ted played the role of polished enforcers. They interfered when needed, took beatings when Orton couldn't, and made sure the Viper always slithered away unharmed. Backstage chatter suggested WWE was grooming Legacy as the future of the company. But on screen, they were Orton's personal hit squad. Part 2. Vince McMahon and the Skull. Punt heard around the world. In January, the unthinkable happened. Vince McMahon, the boss himself, stood face to face with Randy Orton. For years, fans had seen Vince outsmart or outmuscle rebellious stars like Stone Cold Steve Austin or DX. But this time was different. Orton's rage boiled over. With a sudden movement, he punted Vince square in the skull. Vince crumpled to the mat. The commentary team fell silent. No catchphrases, no corny lines. Just stunned disbelief. Fans in the crowd didn't know whether to boo, gasp, or sit in silence. For the first time in years, a superstar felt truly dangerous. This wasn't just an angle. It was presented like a mafia hit. No jokes, no overacting. Vince was stretchered out, and the company leaned into the drama. From this moment on, Orton was no longer a petulant heel. He was the most feared man in WWE. Part 3. Shane McMahon returns. Father's Revenge. When Vince was taken out, the family responded. But it wasn't Stephanie. Not yet. It was Shane McMahon. And this wasn't the goofy, here comes the money, Shane. This was a son avenging his father. On Raw, Shane stormed the ring and tackled Orton over the announce table. His punches were wild, sloppy, and very real. The crowd erupted. It wasn't polished wrestling. It felt like a bar fight in a billion-dollar arena. At No Way Out 2009, Shane squared off with Orton in a brutal match. He pulled out every stunt in the book. Kendo sticks cracked across Legacy's backs, the coast-to-coast dropkick, wild dives. For a moment, it looked like Shane could actually win. But Orton had the numbers. With Rhodes and DiBiase interfering, Orton hit the RKO and sealed the victory. And then came the moment WWE had to scrub from history. Orton delivered a chair shot to Shane's head, a move WWE had already banned because of concussion concerns. The impact was so raw that in later replays, WWE edited it out. That's how far they pushed Orton's menace. Part 4, Triple H and the Family War. With Shane destroyed, there was only one man left. Triple H, WWE Champion and Stephanie McMahon's husband. Suddenly, this wasn't about titles. This was about family. Orton took it to another level. On Raw, he RKO'd Stephanie and then kissed her unconscious body as a handcuffed Triple H watched helplessly. It wasn't just shocking, it was disturbing. Even in wrestling's long history of controversial storylines, this sits near the top. Triple H snapped. In the infamous home invasion segment, cameras followed him breaking into Orton's house. He smashed windows, flipped furniture, and brawled with Orton in the living room. Melodramatic? Absolutely. Effective? You bet. Fans couldn't wait to see the payoff. But then came WrestleMania 25. On a card headlined by Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. A match many call the greatest of all time. Orton versus Triple H fell flat. The stipulation that Triple H would lose the title if he got disqualified neutered the intensity before the bell even rang. What should have been a blood feud felt like a slowed-down championship match. Triple H retained, and the hottest storyline of the year fizzled. Part 5, Backlash 6-Man Chaos. WWE scrambled for a reset. At Backlash, they booked a 6-man tag, Orton, Rhodes, and DiBiase versus Triple H, Batista, and Shane McMahon. The twist? Whoever scored the winning fall would walk out WWE champion. The match had chaos, stakes, and storytelling. Legacy worked together like a well-oiled machine. Constant distractions, blind tags, cheap shots. The babyfaces countered with big crowd-pleasing spots. The climax came when Orton punted Triple H in the skull. This time, it wasn't just a statement. It was for the title. Orton pinned him, and the arena erupted. Not in cheers, but in a loud, visceral reaction. Orton was WWE Champion again. Part 6. Batista takes the reins. With Triple H out of action from the punt, Batista stepped up. Their history and evolution gave this feud weight. Both men had been chosen as the next big thing back in 2004, but they had walked very different paths. At Extreme Rules 2009, they met in a steel cage. The match was stiff and personal. Orton slapped Batista across the face mid-match, daring him to explode. Batista answered with thunderous spine busters and slams that rattled the cage. Batista won the title that night, but his body gave out again. A torn bicep forced him to vacate the championship almost immediately, and in classic Orton fashion, he found a way to slither back in. In a fatal four-way, he reclaimed the belt. This became a theme for Orton's year. He rarely dominated for long stretches. Instead, he thrived in the chaos of injuries, interference, and opportunism. Part 7. The Cena Marathon. If Batista was a short chapter, John Cena was the epic. WWE doubled down on Orton versus Cena, booking them for 4 consecutive pay-per-views. SummerSlam. Orton cheats constantly. The match restarted multiple times after controversial finishes. The chaos was intentional, painting Orton as a master manipulator. He retains. Breaking point. A brutal I quit match. Orton handcuffs Cena to the ring post and tortures him with kendo sticks. Cena bleeds welts across his body, but refuses to quit. Eventually, Cena breaks free and forces Orton to scream, "I quit." A rare moment where Orton looked completely broken. Hell in a Cell. Inside the steel structure, Orton finds redemption. A clean RKO gives him one of his most decisive wins over Cena ever. Bragging rights. The feud peaks with a 1-hour Iron Man match. Falls all over the place. Backstage fights, exploding pyrotechnics, and an RKO on the steel steps. Cena wins 6-5, ending the series. By the end, the feud felt stretched thin. Cena stayed the same superhero. Orton barely evolved. The matches had variety, but the story spun in circles. Fans were exhausted, and WWE quietly moved on. Part 8. Kofi Kingston's breakout moment. If Orton vs. Cena burned out fans, Orton vs. Kofi Kingston lit a new spark. At Survivor Series 2009, Kofi pinned Orton clean in a traditional elimination match. That was massive. Orton almost never took clean losses. The crowd erupted, rallying behind Kofi as a breakout star. Then came one of the most iconic Raw moments of the decade. Orton arrived in the arena's parking lot to find his car vandalized. Kofi stormed in, crowbar in hand, and destroyed it. He capped it off with a boom drop through the windshield. Fans lost their minds. For a moment, it felt like Kofi Kingston was finally being elevated to the main event. But at TLC 2009, Orton beat Kofi clean. The push ended as quickly as it began. Backstage reports suggested Orton didn't trust Kofi's timing. On Raw, after a miscue, Orton screamed, "Stupid. Stupid," mid-match, a clip that went viral years later. What could have been Kofi's launching pad turned into a footnote. Part 9. Legacy cracks. While Orton battled McMahon's, Batista, Cena, and Kofi, tensions brewed inside Legacy. Ted DiBiase Jr. began showing flashes of independence, getting pops from the crowd. Cody Rhodes quietly evolved into the group's spokesperson, sharpening his promo skills and positioning himself for the future. Orton, however, became more paranoid. He berated his protégés, treated them as pawns, and demanded loyalty without giving trust. By late 2009, it was clear. Legacy wasn't a brotherhood. It was a dictatorship. The seeds of their breakup were planted, and by 2010, the cracks would shatter completely. 2009 wasn't a year of dominance for Randy Orton. It was a year of survival, chaos, and venom. From punting Vince McMahon to tormenting Triple H's family, from 4 straight wars with John Cena to snuffing out Kofi Kingston's breakout moment, Orton lived up to his nickname, the Viper. He didn't always win clean. He didn't always headline with classics, but he made fans believe in danger again. And that's why 2009 stands out as one of the most fascinating chapters in Randy Orton's career.